What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Sean O'Malley on Aljamain Sterling fight. At UFC 292, Sugar Sean O'Malley will look to cement his place in UFC history and stake his claim as the bantamweight champion of the world when he takes on Aljamain Sterling in Boston. Although the two men have a bet in place that sees $100 go to the first one to score a takedown, the fight is expected to be a classic stylistic matchup as O'Malley looks to keep the fight standing and Sterling looks to take the fight to the ground. With the countdown to Saturday night underway, O'Malley sat down with ESPN's Brett Okamoto to discuss this fight.
You know, if I keep 100% if I keep this fight standing, I win. I'm gonna beat him in a striking fight, grappling. He's just he's that good. I got to be able to survive on the ground, get to the next round. Like, I'm not underestimating his. I know how good he is. It's not whether he can do it or not. He can do it. We've seen him. He choked out Corey in like 6 seconds. He's like, he's that good. So yeah, I do believe it is a matter of me not letting him grab me.
Currently, the odds have Sterling sitting as a pretty comfortable favorite in the fight, with many confident that he will be able to secure a submission win on the ground. Despite that, O'Malley's recent training footage showcased a number of threats on the feet that could pose some serious problems for the bantamweight champ. In what could be the Funkmaster's final fight at 135 pounds, who do you think winds up getting the job done? Drop your predictions in the comments section below. Michael Chandler reacts to Conor McGregor's statement. While sitting ringside at Anthony Joshua's fight on Saturday, former two-division UFC champion Conor McGregor announced that he'd be fighting Michael Chandler in December, before then setting his sights on a BMF bout with Justin Gaethje. Although he looked and sounded disappointed by the fact that he would be fighting Chandler, his comments naturally caught the attention of Iron Mike, who was quick to respond on Twitter, simply writing, "December sounds perfect to me." Of course, while fans seem to be excited about the return of the Irish star, plenty of fighters have also previously stated that they would be frustrated if McGregor were allowed to bypass the 6 months of testing required by USADA. Although the bout has yet to be finalized by the UFC, it seems as though McGregor's return has been penciled in for the UFC 296 main event on December 16th. With the ball now in the UFC's court, only time will tell how things will play out. UFC fight updates. A pair of thrilling fights have reportedly been added to the UFC's upcoming schedule this week. First up on the calendar, we have a thrilling bantamweight bout between Chris Gutierrez and Montel Jackson set for UFC Vegas 80 on October 7th. The bout will see Gutierrez look to bounce back from a recent loss to Pedro Munoz back in April that snapped a 7-fight win streak. On the flip side, Montel Jackson will be looking to add to his impressive 4-fight win streak that recently saw him KO Hani Yahya in April. The card currently has a strawweight bout between Kanako Murata and Vanessa Demopoulos and a lightweight bout between Drew Dober and Ricky Glenn confirmed as well. Next up, we have a pivotal heavyweight tilt between Curtis Blades and Jailton Almeida added to UFC Sao Paulo on November 4th. The fight will see Blades look to bounce back from a TKO loss to Sergey Pavlovich back in April, which snapped a 3-fight win streak for the heavyweight standout. On the flip side, Almeida will be looking to extend his unbeaten streak inside the octagon that has seen him add 2 wins to his record this year. The fight is expected to headline the card, which will also likely feature a number of Brazilian fighters. Francis Ngannou fact-checks UFC. During UFC Vegas 78, the UFC showed a stat during the walkout of Tafon Nchukwi, indicating that he was the first Cameroonian fighter in the history of the promotion. Screenshots of the stat quickly circulated the MMA community, as many criticized the UFC for seemingly erasing Francis Ngannou from the promotion's history. As the Predator quickly pointed out on Twitter, he may have been the first Cameroonian champion, but Ramoa Thierry Sokoju was the first UFC fighter from Cameroon. As he wrote, "Thierry Sokoju was the first Cameroonian in the UFC. I was second. Don't let them lie and erase history." After making a name for himself under the Pride FC banner by defeating Antonio Rogerio Nogueira at Pride 33 in 2007, months after losing to Glover Teixeira in what was just his 3rd pro fight, Sokoju signed with the UFC, where he went 1-2. Ngannou, of course, is currently gearing up for his highly anticipated boxing match with Tyson Fury on October 28th, where he looks to shock the world. Ahead of the bout, heavyweight standout Tom Aspinall, who has been helping Tyson Fury prepare for the bout, explained to Michael Bisping and Anthony Smith on a recent episode of the Believe You Me show that he believes Ngannou's unique style could work to his advantage, citing how many traditional boxers have a similar style that Fury has become a master at countering.
Whereas if he's fighting someone like a Wilder who's just throwing a big looping right hook randomly, like, it's going to be much harder for someone who's a bit more it's much harder for a traditional boxer to fight someone more unorthodox. So I can see Francis bringing a few more problems than somebody like an Anthony Joshua would to Tyson Fury.
When the fight takes place at the end of October, it'll be interesting to see whether Ngannou, with Mike Tyson in his corner, can capture lightning in a bottle and defeat Fury. Before we continue, make sure you give that like button some love, and be sure to subscribe to the MMA Zone for all of the latest news. UFC fighter pulls out of fight. With the card less than a week away, former bantamweight champion Cody Garbrandt has been forced out of his UFC 292 clash with Mario Bautista. His withdrawal comes as the result of an injury which he addressed on Twitter, revealing that he has a torn disc in his back once again. Fortunately, it sounds as though the former champion is looking to return to action as soon as possible, giving fans hope that he will not be forced to the sideline for an extended period of time. Currently, the UFC is reportedly looking to find a replacement fighter to step in on short notice, with former UFC fighter Randy Costa throwing his name in the hat after picking up a win on the regional scene following a 3-fight losing streak inside the octagon. In recent months, the UFC has found late replacements in fighters scheduled to appear on upcoming Dana White Contender Series cards. As a result, many are holding out hope that the promotion will be able to keep Bautista on the card. Stay tuned for updates as they become available. Khabib receives backlash for interview. UFC Hall of Famer Khabib Nurmagomedov recently found himself in some hot water for his comments about gender while speaking at a Q&A with fans. After allegedly being asked how many genders there are, Nurmagomedov smiled and threw up his hands, looking confused before recalling a story about when he was in California a few weeks ago. As he explained to audience members, he wanted to use the bathroom in a cafe, but he was confused by the 2 bathroom signs indicating anyone could use either bathroom.
I grew up in a very traditional place, with very traditional family. I'm very happy with this. I'm from big mountains, and we have only 2 genders.
His comments received criticism among the MMA community, while others chalked them up to the cultural differences between Dagestan and the Western world. Of course, this wasn't the first time the legendary lightweight found himself in hot water while speaking at a Q&A. Several years back, while fielding questions from fans, he expressed his opinion against women fighting in MMA, suggesting they stay home and take care of their husbands instead. And now for our breaking news story of the day. We have the MMA community reacting to the new UFC rules. The new rule states that if a fighter is cut from a foul, they will be given 5 minutes to recover, and a cut man will be able to seal the cut. Also, during an eye poke, the fighters will get 5 minutes, and the doctor won't shine a light in their eyes immediately. Here's what the MMA community had to say. Kelvin Gastelum said, "Interesting new rules added to MMA." A fan reacted saying, "I hope fighters don't take advantage of the new eye poke rule and take advantage of the 5 minutes to recover. Also, hopefully they can update rules when a fighter intentionally tries taking a DQ." Another fan said, "UFC should be changing the gloves so that it's harder to eye poke." Someone else reacted saying, "The eye poke one is a no-brainer. You're blind for just a few minutes and then completely fine after. Use a clean cold compress instead of your sweaty hand and wait 5 minutes before making a decision. Always bothered me when the doctor's in there 90 seconds and shining a light in their eyes. What do you think of these new UFC rules? Let us know in the comments below." Conor McGregor called out a YouTuber. While Conor McGregor dropped some pretty big news on the MMA community this weekend, when he stated that he and Michael Chandler would be squaring off in December, he also left many scratching their heads as he repeatedly called out YouTuber KSI, who was also in attendance at the event. While speaking to those in attendance after the fight, McGregor threw in a bare-knuckle challenge.
Big congrats to the UK. Big congrats for Jordan Stout. And I know your man KSI is in the crowd, yeah? And he couldn't box eggs if he worked in an egg boxing factory. So if he wants to get in here, I'll give him a final, bare knuckle if you want.
Later in the night, KSI tweeted about the situation, writing, "LMAO, just seen this. Jake Paul must be crying that I've got Conor on my already, and I didn't even have to fight an MMA fighter." The whole situation drew mixed reactions from the fight community, with one fan writing, "He's never coming back to the UFC," and another writing, "Conor has no intention to ever fight again," while others ripped McGregor for setting his sights on a YouTuber, writing, "This guy wants to fight YouTubers now?" And another adding, "Used to be my favorite MMA fighter, now he's just a clout chaser." Others ripped McGregor's trash talk itself, with one fan echoing a sentiment Dustin Poirier shared leading up to the pair's trilogy fight, writing, "God, his trash talk's even getting worse." As the Irish star sets his sight on a return to the octagon, do you think he has lost the support of the MMA community, or will he make his return as a fan favorite when he fights Michael Chandler? Drop your thoughts in the comments section down below.